You clearly don't understand how real business works, sweetheart. Maybe you should stick to what you people are good at. Diversity quotas and coffee service. The words sliced through the mahogany-paneled boardroom like a blade. 8 white men in $3,000 suits. 1 black woman in a simple turtleneck and jeans. 47th floor of Manhattan's most exclusive corporate tower. She doesn't flinch. Her fingers drum once against a plain black notebook. The leather is butter soft, expensive, but they don't notice. What happens when corporate arrogance collides with hidden power? When condescension meets calculated revenge? This isn't just about one woman's humiliation. This is about systemic change delivered with surgical precision. Have you ever walked into a room where everyone assumed you didn't belong? Where your presence was treated like a clerical error? Where your expertise was dismissed before you even spoke? 10 minutes until the board meeting starts. $2.3 billion on the line. The Henderson acquisition hangs in the balance. Dr. Angela Morgan sits at the head of the mahogany table. Black turtleneck, dark jeans, simple flats. The fabric drapes like liquid silk, but they see student clothes. She's 42, Harvard MBA, Wharton Finance, PhD. They see a girl who wandered into the wrong seminar. Richard Hawthorne adjusts his Hermes tie. 58 years old, 3rd-generation wealth, board chairman for 15 years. His eyes scan her outfit with undisguised disgust. "I'm sorry, but I think there's been a mistake." His voice carries that particular brand of upper-class condescension. "The catering staff uses the service elevator, and we have a strict dress code for corporate events." Angela's micro-expression doesn't change, but her thumb hovers over her phone. A contact labeled Legal, Priority 1, waits on the screen. The other board members shift in their seats, uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to speak up. How did someone in jeans get past security? Board member Harrison Webb straightens his Savile Row jacket. Is this some kind of campus tour gone wrong? The secretary whispers into her headset. Should I call the university liaison office? 7 minutes until the vote. The Henderson representatives are standing by. Tokyo markets open in 6 hours. Angela opens her simple black notebook. The pages reveal precise handwriting, complex financial diagrams, numbers that would make these men's heads spin. But they're not looking at the content. They're fixated on her appearance. Her phone buzzes. Bloomberg terminal notification. Then Reuters. Then JP Morgan Private Banking. The screen lights up like a Christmas tree of financial alerts. They don't notice. "Young lady, this isn't a startup accelerator." Hawthorne's voice rises. "We require professional attire here. This is serious business." He gestures to his $5,000 suit like it's armor. Like fabric equals competence. Angela's voice remains steady. "Professional. I understand the confusion about my attire. Sometimes I prefer comfort over theatrics." She pulls a pen from her notebook. Looks like a simple ballpoint. It's actually a $2,000 Mont Blanc, disguised as an everyday writing tool. The irony isn't lost on her. "Comfort?" Webb laughs. "This is Thornfield Industries, not your college dorm room." The CFO emerges from an adjacent office, takes one look at Angela. "What's this commotion? Are we dealing with campus activists?" 5 minutes until the vote. Angela adjusts her watch. The leather strap is worn, comfortable, but when the light catches it just right, there's a glimpse of Swiss movement through the transparent caseback. Patek Philippe. More expensive than most people's cars. Again, they don't notice. She speed dials a number using voice command. Call protocol 7. The phone responds in crisp digital audio. Calling legal, priority 1. Crimson Eagle authorization. The boardroom falls silent. Even the security guards pause. What the hell is Crimson Eagle? Hawthorne mutters. Angela doesn't answer. She's typing on her phone now. Not frantically, methodically, like she's following a checklist she's rehearsed 100 times. 3 minutes until the Henderson vote. $340 million in annual revenue hangs in the balance. But something else is happening here. Something none of these men understand yet. Ma'am, you need to come with us. The security chief appears in the doorway. 2 guards flank him. This is a restricted area, and frankly, you're not dressed appropriately for this floor. 8 board members now standing. Angela remains seated, at the head of the table, the chairman's seat. She looks like a grad student who wandered into the wrong lecture hall. But she's not moving. I'll need each of your names for the record, she says calmly, and your employee ID numbers. Names for what record? Hawthorne demands. Angela's phone screen shows multiple notifications. But these aren't random alerts. These are communications from people these board members would recognize. Senators, federal judges, Fortune 500 CEOs. She declines a call from Senator Williams' private line. Mr. Hawthorne, I need to ask you something important. She stands slowly. The simple turtleneck moves like expensive silk, because it is expensive silk, custom woven. But they still see student clothes. In your 15 years as chairman, have you ever read the complete corporate charter? Section 12, subsection C, specifically? The legal counsel shifts uncomfortably in his seat. What charter provision? Hawthorne's voice cracks slightly. The provision regarding hostile takeovers and the emergency protocols for ownership transitions. He places a single document on the table, pulled from her simple notebook. But the paper is legal letterhead, embossed, expensive. This is a Schedule 13D filing, filed with the SEC at 9:47 a.m. this morning, 1 minute until the scheduled vote. It concerns a controlling interest acquisition of Thornfield Industries. The silence is deafening. The boardroom transforms into a theater of humiliation. Security guards block the exits. Executive assistants whisper into headsets. The CFO calls for backup. We have a casually dressed intruder in the boardroom, the assistant reports, requesting additional security. Angela remains calm. She begins typing on her phone again. The screen shows apps these board members have never heard of. Bloomberg Terminal, Reuters Icon, Federal Reserve economic data. Tools that cost more per month than most people's salaries. They're still staring at her jeans. Ma'am, you're in violation of corporate security protocols, the security chief announces. You need to leave immediately. I'll need your badge number too, Angela responds. For the documentation. What documentation? Webb demands. Angela doesn't answer. She's photographing each person in the room now, methodically, like she's building a case file. The legal counsel approaches nervously. Miss, I don't know who you are, but this is a private corporate meeting. You could be charged with trespassing. Could I? Angela's voice carries a hint of amusement. That's interesting. What's your bar number? The lawyer blinks. My what? Your state bar number. I'll need it for the countersuit. 2 more security guards arrive. The boardroom is now crowded with people trying to remove one woman in jeans and a turtleneck. Necessitat made olis otetlenro. The irony is delicious. Angela's phone rings again. This time she glances at the screen and answers. Hi, sweetheart. Yes, I'm still at the meeting. No, it's going exactly as we expected. She pauses, listening. Tell Professor Martinez I'll be there for your presentation tomorrow. Love you too. She hangs up. The board members exchange confused glances. Your daughter? Hawthorne asks, temporarily distracted from his rage. Columbia University. She's defending her honors thesis tomorrow. Angela's voice carries quiet pride. Economics and social justice. She's studying corporate discrimination patterns in Fortune 500 companies. The room temperature seems to drop several degrees. How convenient, Hawthorne mutters. 8 board members, 6 security personnel, 2 legal assistants, all focused on removing one woman who refuses to acknowledge their authority. You have exactly 30 seconds, Hawthorne declares, his face flushed red. Explain who you are and why you're dressed like a college student in my boardroom. Or, I'm calling the police. Angela closes her notebook, stands slowly. The simple black turtleneck catches the light differently now. The fabric's quality becomes undeniable to anyone actually looking. Mr. Hawthorne, before we continue, I need to inform you that this conversation is being recorded. Recorded? The security chief steps forward. Ma'am, that's illegal without consent. Angela tilts her head slightly. Actually, in New York, only one party needs to consent to recording. That would be me. Also, as of 9:52 a.m. this morning, I have legal authority to record all activities in this boardroom. She pulls out her phone. The recording app shows 43 minutes and counting. Legal authority? The corporate counsel's voice cracks. Under what statute? Delaware General Corporation Law, Section 1811. Majority shareholder rights supersede all board privacy expectations. The words hang in the air like smoke from a discharged weapon. Majority shareholder? Webb's laugh sounds forced. Lady, I don't know what game you're playing, but 51.3%, Angela interrupts. Acquired through 7 shell companies over 18 months. The acquisition was completed at market close yesterday. She places another document on the table. This one has official seals. Government letterhead. Securities and Exchange Commission filing 13D, submitted at 9:47 a.m. You should have received email notification at 9:52 a.m. Hawthorne fumbles for his phone. His face goes pale. That's impossible. Someone would have told me. Check your spam folder, Angela suggests helpfully. The CFO is already on his laptop. His fingers fly across the keyboard. His expression shifts from confusion to shock to something approaching terror. Richard, he whispers. The filing is real. She owns... Jesus Christ, she owns the company? The security guards look confused. Do they escort out the owner? Do they arrest the board? Nobody trained them for this scenario. Angela's phone buzzes with another call. Henderson Industries, CEO direct line. She answers. Jack, perfect timing. Yes, I'm in the Thornfield boardroom right now. The vote? Well, there's been a slight change in management structure. She listens for a moment. No, the acquisition is still on track. Better than on track, actually. I'll have the new board approval within the hour. The Henderson CEO's voice is loud enough for others to hear. New board? What happened to Hawthorne? Mr. Hawthorne is, transitioning to new opportunities. Angela replies diplomatically. She ends the call, looks around the room. 8 board members, 6 security guards, 2 lawyers, all staring at her like she's just performed magic. Now, shall we discuss the Henderson acquisition? Or would you prefer to continue debating my wardrobe choices? The boardroom has become a pressure cooker. Tensions rise with each passing second. The Henderson deal deadline looms. Stock markets are watching. Billions in shareholder value hang in the balance. But something else is happening. Something deeper. Angela walks to the floor-to-ceiling windows. Manhattan spreads below like a concrete and steel chessboard. She's been planning this moment for months. You know what I find fascinating about corporate culture? She says without turning around. The assumption that expensive clothes equal intelligence, that appearances determine competence. She faces the room again. I dressed simply today for a reason. I wanted to see how you'd treat someone who didn't fit your aesthetic expectations. This is ridiculous, Webb protests. You can't judge our entire corporate culture based on one misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Angela's voice cuts through his protest like a scalpel. Mr. Webb, I've been recording interactions in this company for 12 weeks. She opens her notebook again. Page after page of detailed observations. Times, dates, names, direct quotes. I worked in your customer service department. Jeans and simple shirts every day. You know what I learned? How your managers speak when they think no one important is listening. The corporate counsel shifts nervously. You worked undercover? That could constitute fraud. Could it? Angela's smile is razor sharp. My employment was completely legal. I used my legal name, passed all background checks, received paychecks that were properly taxed. She flips to a specific page. October 15th. Manager Sarah tells new hire Maria Gonzalez that she should try to fit in better because her accent makes clients uncomfortable. Another page. October 22nd. Director Tom Walsh suggests that the diversity hiring initiative is getting out of hand because qualified candidates are being passed over for quota fillers. Another page. November 3rd. VP Jennifer Morrison jokes that the company Christmas party will need ethnic food options now that there are so many of them working here. The silence is crushing. 73 documented incidents of discriminatory language, 47 instances of appearance-based bias, 21 cases of wage disparity based on gender and ethnicity. She closes the notebook. All recorded, all documented, all legally obtained. Hawthorne's voice is barely a whisper. What do you want? Angela checks her watch. The elegant timepiece finally catches the light properly. Swiss movement. Platinum case. More valuable than most cars. I want justice, Mr. Hawthorne, and I want change. She pauses, letting the weight of those words settle. But first, I want to tell you exactly who you've been talking to for the past hour. Angela Morgan walks back to the head of the table. Every eye in the room follows her movement. The simple turtleneck and jeans suddenly seem less like student clothes and more like a carefully chosen costume. My name is Dr. Angela Morgan, she begins, her voice carrying a new authority. 23 years in private equity, $47 billion in transactions. I've purchased and restructured 127 companies. The words hit the room like physical blows. Apex Strategic Partners, Webb whispers. You're Angela Morgan of Apex Strategic Partners? You've heard of my firm? Angela's eyebrow arches slightly. Heard of it? The CFO's voice cracks. You've been on the cover of Fortune magazine 6 times. You're one of the most powerful women in finance. Hawthorne's face cycles through confusion, recognition, and growing horror. The Morgan who took down Blackstone Industries? Who restructured 3 Fortune 100 companies last year? The very same. Angela's smile is glacier cold. Though I prefer to think of it as corporate evolution rather than takedowns. She opens her phone and shows the screen to the room. Her contact list reads like a who's who of American power. Senators, federal judges, Fortune 500 CEOs, Supreme Court justices. The call I declined earlier? Senator Williams chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. We're having dinner tomorrow to discuss corporate accountability legislation. The security guards look confused. Do they arrest a woman who has dinner with senators? The entire power dynamic has shifted so dramatically that no one knows their role anymore. But why? Hawthorne's voice is hollow. Why Thornfield? We're profitable. We're growing. Our stock price... Your stock price is artificially deflated due to reputational damage, Angela interrupts. 17 discrimination lawsuits in 5 years, 89 million in settlements. All sealed, all buried, all creating liability clouds that sophisticated investors recognize. She pulls out a tablet, swipes to a detailed financial analysis. I acquired 51.3% of Thornfield for $1.2 billion. That's a 35% discount from fair market value. You know why? Because institutional investors won't touch a company with your discrimination record. The numbers flash on the screen. Acquisition costs, market valuations, projected returns. In 18 months, I've quietly purchased shares through Morgan Holdings, Pinnacle Investments, Sterling Capital, Genesis Partners, Meridian Assets, Phoenix Holdings, and Crescendo Financial. 7 shell companies. All completely legal. All properly disclosed to regulatory authorities. But the board, notifications, the corporate counsel stammers. Check Section 47 of your shareholder agreement, Angela replies. Acquisitions under 10% per entity don't require individual board notification. Only cumulative holdings above 50% trigger immediate disclosure requirements. She slides a thick legal document across the table, which happened yesterday at 4:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The boardroom has transformed from a place of corporate power to something resembling a courtroom. Angela stands as both prosecutor and judge. You're probably wondering why I'm dressed like this, she continues, gesturing to her simple outfit. I was visiting my daughter at Columbia this morning, parent-teacher conferences. She's defending her honors thesis tomorrow. She pauses, letting that sink in. Economics and social justice. Analyzing corporate discrimination patterns in Fortune 500 companies. She's been researching Thornfield Industries specifically. The color drains from several faces. But I came straight here because I wanted to see something for myself. I wanted to witness how you'd treat someone who didn't fit your visual expectations of power. Angela's voice hardens. I spent 12 weeks working undercover in your customer service department. Jeans and simple shirts every day. You know what I learned? How your managers behave when they think no one important is watching. She opens her notebook again, flipping to specific entries. Week 3. Supervisor mockingly asks if I even speak English after I suggest a process improvement that would save the company $200,000 annually. Week 7. Department head tells a Hispanic colleague she should try to sound more American during client calls. Week 11. HR representative jokes that the diversity training is basically a waste of time because people don't really change.
Each revelation lands like a sledgehammer. But the most interesting discovery wasn't the casual racism or the systemic bias. It was the financial impact. She produces another document, spreadsheets filled with devastating numbers. Your company's discrimination isn't just morally bankrupt, it's literally bankrupting you. Henderson Industries was ready to cancel their acquisition 6 months ago, not because of financial performance, because their board wouldn't approve partnerships with companies that have active discrimination litigation. Pacific Corporation pulled out of a $180 million contract last quarter. Their internal memo specifically cited cultural misalignment and reputational risk concerns. Meridian Industries terminated discussions for a $95 million joint venture. The reason? They couldn't justify the partnership to their increasingly diverse customer base. The numbers keep coming. Combined annual revenue loss due to discrimination, reputation damage, $615 million. That's 22% of your total revenue.
Webb's voice is barely audible. 600 million? Your bigotry has cost shareholders $615 million annually. And that's just the direct losses. We haven't calculated the opportunity costs, the talent acquisition failures, or the innovation deficits that come from homogeneous leadership. Angela closes the notebook with a soft thud that sounds like a gavel falling. I didn't just buy this company to make money, gentlemen. I bought it to prove a point. The silence in the boardroom is suffocating. Hawthorne stares at the document spread across the mahogany table like they're evidence at his own trial. There's something else, Angela says quietly. Something that makes this acquisition much more than a financial transaction. She walks to her simple black handbag, pulls out a worn photograph, places it gently on the table. Maria Santos, my Harvard roommate. Brilliant financial analyst. She worked here in 2019. The photograph shows two young women at graduation, one black, one Latina, both radiant with possibility. Maria quit after 6 months. She never told me why until last year. Angela's voice carries the weight of personal pain now, not just corporate strategy. This is about friendship, about justice deferred but not denied.
She was told by her supervisor that she was too emotional for client presentations, that her accent made clients uncomfortable, that she should consider back offer roles where she wouldn't interface with important customers.
The photograph seems to stare at them accusingly. Maria now runs a $150 million division at Goldman Sachs. She's one of the most respected analysts on Wall Street. But Thornfield broke something in her, made her question her worth, her voice, her right to take up space in rooms like this. Angela picks up the photograph, looks at it tenderly. When she finally told me what happened here, I made her a promise. I promised her that Thornfield Industries would change, that no other brilliant woman would be diminished by the casual cruelty of institutional bias. She places the photograph back on the table.
That promise led to 18 months of investigation, 18 months of documentation, 18 months of strategic acquisition, and now we're here. The corporate counsel clears his throat nervously. Miss Morgan, while we appreciate your perspective, the board still has fiduciary responsibilities. What board? Angela's voice cuts through his protest like ice. She produces another document. Official letterhead, legal seals. As majority shareholder, I dissolved the existing board at 10:47 a.m. this morning. Delaware corporate law grants me immediate restructuring authority upon majority acquisition. The words hit like physical blows. You're all terminated, effective immediately. Hawthorne lurches to his feet. You can't just... I did. It's done. Angela checks her elegant watch. The Swiss movement catches the light, finally revealing its true value. New board members have already been selected. They'll be here within the hour to approve the Henderson acquisition, ratify the Pacific Corporation partnership, and finalize the Meridian Industries joint venture. $615 million in annual revenue, restored within 90 days.
She looks around the room at the faces of men who controlled billions of dollars in assets 60 minutes ago and now control nothing. Gentlemen, you've just experienced the most expensive lesson in corporate accountability in American business history. The boardroom clears like a crime scene. Former executives shuffled toward the elevators, their 15-year reign ending, not with conquest, but with quiet capitulation. Angela checks her watch. 28 minutes until the new board arrives. Her phone buzzes. Text message from Maria CFO, designate. I'm in the lobby, ready to change the world. Angela smiles. The first genuine expression of joy she's shown all day. She texts back. Come on up, time to keep that promise. 5 minutes later, Maria Santos enters the boardroom. Elegant, confident, carrying herself like the Goldman Sachs executive she became after Thornfield tried to break her. You actually did it, Maria whispers, looking around the mahogany-paneled room that once represented her professional nightmare. We did it, Angela corrects. Your courage to finally tell me what happened here made all of this possible. They embrace. Two Harvard roommates, two brilliant women, two survivors of institutional bias who refused to stay silent. The new board members are extraordinary, Angela continues. Former Chief Justice, Patricia Williams. She's been waiting 3 years for an opportunity to implement her corporate accountability framework. Dr. James Chen from Harvard Business School. He literally wrote the textbook on inclusive leadership strategy. Sarah Mitchell, former CEO of Meridian Industries. She increased company valuation by 400% while maintaining the highest diversity retention rate in the Fortune 500. Maria reviews the files on Angela's tablet. These aren't token appointments. These are genuine corporate leaders. Exactly. No symbolism, no politics. Just proven competence and demonstrated commitment to systemic change. Angela's phone buzzes. Henderson Industries in lobby, ready for signature. 20 minutes early. Even the clients are eager to work with the new Thornfield. First board vote in 18 minutes, Angela announces. Henderson acquisition, $340 million annually. Pacific Corporation partnership, $180 million annually. Meridian joint venture, $95 million annually. $615 million in annual revenue, restored in a single afternoon. Maria shakes her head in amazement. Hawthorne spent 5 years losing those contracts. You're recovering them in 5 hours. That's the power of accountability, Angela replies. When you remove the toxic elements, healthy growth becomes inevitable. The elevator dings. 7 new board members emerge. Distinguished, diverse, ready to govern. Let's make history, Angela says. The new Thornfield Industries board convenes at 3:47 p.m. 7 members, 4 women, 3 men, 5 minorities, 2 white members. Combined corporate experience, 147 years. Average company valuation increase under their previous leadership, 23% annually. Chief Justice Williams calls the meeting to order. First item, ratification of new corporate governance protocols. The vote is unanimous, 7-0. Second item, approval of Henderson Industries acquisition. Henderson's CEO participates via video conference. We're thrilled to finally move forward with this partnership. The new leadership structure addresses all our previous concerns about cultural alignment. Unanimous approval, 7-0. $340 million in annual revenue, secured. Third item, Pacific Corporation Partnership Agreement. Pacific's representatives are physically present. We've been waiting 18 months for Thornfield to demonstrate genuine commitment to inclusive business practices. Today's restructuring exceeds our expectations. Unanimous approval, 7-0. $180 million in annual revenue, secured. Fourth item, Meridian Industries joint venture. Former CEO Sarah Mitchell recuses herself due to potential conflict of interest. The remaining 6 members vote. Unanimous approval, 6-0. $95 million in annual revenue, secured. $615 million, recovered in 4 hours and 13 minutes. Final item, Chief Justice Williams announces. Implementation timeline for comprehensive corporate accountability measures. The scope is breathtaking. Real-time diversity dashboard launches Monday. Public transparency regarding all hiring, promotion, and retention metrics. Anonymous reporting system goes live Wednesday. External auditing by Deloitte. No internal review processes. Employee equity sharing program begins Friday. Every employee receives actual ownership stakes, not just stock options. Huh? Executive compensation tied to diversity metrics effective immediately. No goals met? No bonuses. Period. Mandatory bias training for all management positions. Completion required for continued employment. Quarterly public reporting on cultural transformation progress. Full transparency to shareholders and stakeholders. Maria Santos reviews the implementation budget. Total cost, $47 million in year 1. Projected savings from reduced legal liability, improved retention, and restored client relationships, $230 million annually. Net positive impact, $183 million. The math is undeniable. Accountability isn't just morally correct. It's financially superior. By 5:30 p.m., news of the Thornfield transformation spreads through Manhattan's financial district like wildfire. Angela's phone hasn't stopped buzzing. CEO calls, media requests, congressional inquiries. Reuters wants an exclusive interview, her assistant reports. Wall Street Journal is requesting comment. Harvard Business Review wants to feature the acquisition in their next cover story. But the most important call comes from an unexpected source. Ms. Morgan, this is Senator Elizabeth Warren's office. The senator would like to discuss incorporating the Thornfield model into federal corporate accountability legislation. Federal legislation. The scope expands beyond one company to systemic change across American business. MCS. Angela accepts the call immediately. Senator Warren, what an honor. Ms. Morgan, what you've accomplished today represents the most significant corporate accountability action I've seen in 30 years. We need to scale this model nationally. I'm listening. Corporate Responsibility and Transparency Act, mandatory diversity reporting, anonymous whistleblower protections, executive compensation tied to inclusive leadership metrics. The Thornfield model becomes the federal standard. Angela looks around the boardroom where this transformation began 6 hours ago, where casual racism met calculated justice, where systemic bias encountered systematic change. Senator, I'd be honored to work with you. Excellent. How does Thursday sound for a strategy meeting? Thursday works perfectly. Angela ends the call, looks at Maria. We're not just changing one company anymore. We're changing the entire system. The mahogany boardroom transforms into an execution chamber. 8 men who controlled billions 60 minutes ago now stand like defendants awaiting sentencing. Angela walks to the head of the table, the chairman's seat, her seat now. Gentlemen, let me introduce you to your new reality. She opens her tablet displaying a comprehensive corporate restructuring plan. Charts, timelines, implementation strategies. This isn't improvisation, this is surgical precision. Effective immediately, I'm implementing Protocol 7, Complete Corporate Governance Overhaul. What's Protocol 7? Webb's voice cracks. Emergency restructuring procedures for companies with systemic discrimination liability. I developed it after acquiring 3 other Fortune 500 companies with similar cultural challenges. The numbers on her screen tell a devastating story. Thornfield Industries' market capitalization as of yesterday, $4.2 billion. Annual revenue, $2.8 billion. My acquisition cost, $1.2 billion. 35% below market value due to discrimination. Reputational damage. Henderson deal annual value $340 million. Pacific Corporation contract $180 million annually. Meridian Industries joint venture $95 million annually. Each number lands like a physical blow. Combined revenue recovery $615 million annually. That's a 51% return on my investment in year 1 alone. Hawthorne slumps in his chair. This is impossible. You can't just walk in here and what, Mr. Hawthorne? Buy your company? Restructure your board? Implement accountability measures? Angela's smile is razor sharp. I just did. She gestures to the security guards, who now look to her for direction. Corporate security, please escort the former board members to the lobby. Their building access has been revoked. Personal items will be shipped within 48 hours. You can't do this! Hawthorne's composure finally cracks completely. I've been with this company for 15 years. I built this place. You built a toxic culture that cost shareholders $600 million annually, Angela replies calmly. That's not building, that's destruction. The security chief approaches hesitantly. Ma'am, do you have documentation for the ownership transfer? Angela produces a thick folder. Securities filings, legal documents, court orders, everything bearing official seals and signatures. Delaware General Corporation Law, Section 141. Majority shareholder rights supersede all existing board authority. Legal counsel can verify if needed. The corporate lawyer frantically scrolls through legal databases on his phone. His face goes pale. It's legitimate. The acquisition is legally binding. She has absolute authority. Ah! Angela stands at the floor-to-ceiling windows. Manhattan sprawls below like a conquered territory. Behind her, former board members gather their dignity and prepare for exile. Before you leave, gentlemen, let me explain what's going to happen next. She turns, tablet in hand. The screen displays a comprehensive corporate transformation timeline. New board composition takes effect in 1 hour. 7 members, 4 women, 5 minorities, all with verified track records in inclusive leadership and proven financial performance. Impossible, Webb mutters. You can't assemble a competent board in... I've been recruiting for 8 months, Angela interrupts. Former CEO of Meridian Industries, retired CFO of Pacific Corporation, 2 Harvard Business School professors specializing in organizational psychology, the former Chief Justice of the Delaware Supreme Court. She swipes to detailed biographies. Combined experience, 147 years in corporate leadership. Average return on equity under their management, 23% annually. The numbers are staggering. New corporate policies take effect Monday morning. Every employee receives equity shares, not stock options, actual ownership stakes. Impossible. Hawthorne protests weekly. The dilution costs alone will be offset by productivity increases and retention improvements. Studies show employee owners increase productivity by an average of 37%. Angela swipes to implementation details. Real-time diversity dashboard goes live on the company website next week. Hiring rates, promotion rates, retention rates, pay equity data. All public, all transparent, all updated quarterly. Anonymous reporting app launches simultaneously. Every complaint investigated by external auditors from Deloitte. No internal review, no corporate protection, pure accountability. The scope is breathtaking. Executive compensation now tied directly to diversity metrics. No diversity goals met, no bonus. Period. This applies to every management position from supervisor to C-suite. Company-wide mentorship program begins immediately. Every executive paired with a minority employee. Real relationships, real accountability, real consequences for failure. Webb shakes his head. You're going to destroy the company culture? I'm going to save the company, Angela cuts him off. Your culture was costing $600 million annually in lost contracts, legal settlements, and talent acquisition failures. She displays a projection chart. Conservative estimates show 30% revenue increase within 12 months, 50% improvement in employee satisfaction, 70% reduction in legal liability. And if these projections are wrong, Hawthorne asks desperately. Then I lose $1.2 billion, Angela replies. But given that I've successfully restructured 127 companies using these exact methodologies, I'm confident in the outcome. She checks her watch. The elegant Swiss timepiece catches the light perfectly now. New board arrives in 37 minutes. Henderson executives arrive in 45 minutes. Pacific Corporation representatives arrive in 52 minutes. 3 historic contracts will be approved before market close today. She looks around the room at the faces of men who built an empire on exclusion and watched it crumble in 90 minutes. Gentlemen, your legacy will be serving as the cautionary tale that changed corporate America forever. The boardroom has become a courtroom, and Angela Morgan is delivering the final judgment. You have 2 choices, she announces, her voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. Option 1. Leave quietly. Standard severance packages. Non-disclosure agreements that protect your minimal remaining reputations. No references, but no public humiliation. She pauses, letting that sink in. Option 2. Contest this acquisition, fight the restructuring, challenge my authority. Her smile turned predatory. I should mention that option 2 comes with consequences you haven't considered yet. Angela produces another folder. This one is thicker, more ominous. 18 months of investigation didn't just reveal discrimination patterns. It revealed potential SEC violations, financial irregularities, executive compensation issues that might interest the Internal Revenue Service. The color drains from several faces. Webb, your executive expense account shows 47 dinners at restaurants that don't exist. That's either fraud or the most impressive money laundering operation I've encountered. Harrison, you've been billing personal vacations as client development trips for 3 years. The IRS might find that interesting. Huh? And it's on top of all that crime stuff, too, and forgive my... Morrison, your wife's consulting company has received $600,000 in payments for services that have no documented deliverables. Each revelation hits like a sniper's bullet. And Hawthorne, Angela's voice drops to a whisper. Your personal use of company aircraft for family vacations totals $1.4 million over 5 years. That's a federal crime. The silence is deafening. I have documentation for everything. Receipts, flight logs, bank records, email trails. 18 months of forensic accounting by the same team that helped the FBI prosecute Enron executives. Hawthorne's voice is barely audible. What? What do you want? I want you to walk away. Quietly. Permanently. No media interviews. No tell-all books. No consulting opportunities that trade on your Thornfield experience. Angela stands, gathering her simple notebook and elegant tablet. The Henderson representatives arrive in 32 minutes. I need this boardroom cleared and prepared for actual business. You're destroying everything we built, Webb protests weakly. No, Angela replies firmly. I'm building something better from the ruins of what you destroyed. She walks to the door, then turns back. Maria Santos starts as CFO Monday morning. Her first task will be implementing the financial transparency protocols that will prevent future executive fraud. The irony is delicious, don't you think? The woman you people dismissed as too emotional will now control every dollar that flows through this company. The former board members begin gathering their belongings. 15 years of power evaporating in 90 minutes. Oh, and gentlemen, Angela's voice stops them at the door. The recording of this meeting will be transcribed and included in the mandatory sexual harassment and discrimination training that every Fortune 500 company will soon be required to complete. Their voices will educate future executives about the cost of institutional bias. You'll be famous. Just not the way you intended. 3 months later, the transformation is undeniable. The numbers tell a story of corporate evolution that financial analysts call unprecedented. Employee satisfaction scores up 340%, the highest in Fortune 500 history. Minority retention rates up 290%, industry-leading performance. Stock price up 45%. Market cap increased by $1.8 billion. New contract acquisitions, $890 million in additional annual revenue. The Henderson deal completed 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Pacific Corporation expanded their partnership by $60 million annually. Meridian Industries is discussing a second joint venture worth $150 million. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The real transformation lives in the details. In the anonymous feedback that floods the new reporting system with praise instead of complaints. In the executive mentorship program that pairs senior leaders with junior employees across racial and gender lines, creating genuine relationships where none existed before. In Maria Santos's corner office, where the woman once dismissed as too emotional now manages $2.8 billion in annual revenue with mathematical precision and visionary leadership. The diversity dashboard on the company website updates in real time. Hiring rates, promotion rates, pay equity data, all transparent, all improving, all monitored by shareholders who now understand that inclusion drives innovation. Angela still wears jeans to board meetings. The difference is that everyone listens now. Not because of her clothes, but because of her results. The recording of that original boardroom confrontation has been viewed over 50 million times across corporate training platforms. Hawthorne's voice teaching future executives about the catastrophic cost of casual discrimination. His legacy secured, just not the way he intended. Harvard Business Review featured Thornfield on their cover with the headline, "The Accountability Revolution: How One Woman Changed Corporate America Forever." The Thornfield model spreads across American business like a beneficial virus. 17 Fortune 500 companies have adopted identical protocols, anonymous reporting systems, real-time diversity dashboards, executive compensation tied to inclusive leadership metrics. The Corporate Responsibility and Transparency Act passes the Senate by a margin of 67 to 33. The House approves it with bipartisan support. President signs it into law on a Tuesday morning in the Rose Garden. Angela stands behind the president as he signs legislation that will transform how American businesses operate. Mandatory diversity reporting, federal whistleblower protections, executive accountability measures. The Thornfield model becomes federal law, but the most profound impact isn't measured in legislation or stock prices. It's measured in human dignity restored. The coalition of minority executives that formed around Angela's initiative now includes over 3,000 corporate leaders. They share strategies, resources, support. Most importantly, they share power. No one fights alone anymore. The scholarship program launches with 100 full-ride recipients, future leaders who will inherit corporations that value competence over connections, merit over membership, excellence over exclusion. Angela's daughter successfully defends her honors thesis, Economics and Social Justice, the Thornfield case study as a template for corporate accountability. She graduates, summa cum laude, and accepts a position at the Department of Justice, where she'll help enforce the new corporate responsibility legislation. The cycle continues, but in the right direction now. Maria Santos is profiled in Fortune magazine as one of the 40 under 40 most influential executives in America. The article mentions her brief, painful tenure at the old Thornfield, how she almost quit finance entirely, how she found her voice again, to what extent and with whom, how she helped change everything. The final paragraph reads, "Sometimes justice delayed is justice denied, but sometimes justice delayed is justice perfected." The Thornfield model proves that accountability, properly applied, doesn't just correct past wrongs. It creates better futures. This story isn't just about one woman's triumph. It's about the power of accountability to transform entire systems. Have you experienced workplace discrimination? Have you been dismissed because you didn't fit someone's narrow definition of what success looks like? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice matters. Your experience has power. If this story resonated with you, if you believe that corporate accountability can create lasting change, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they belong in every room they enter. Subscribe for more stories of courage, accountability, and transformation. Because the Thornfield model isn't just about one company. It's about changing how business operates in America. What would you do in Angela's position? How would you use sudden power to create lasting change? Tell us in the comments. Remember, sometimes the person everyone underestimates is exactly the person who changes everything. The revolution isn't coming. The revolution is here. And it's wearing jeans and a simple turtleneck, carrying a notebook full of documentation, and refusing to accept that this is just how things are. Join the movement. Share the story. Change the world. One boardroom at a time.